Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to introduce you to this. Alright, so I'm going to do a very quick introduction and a quick tour of my home cockpit, and I'll throw a quick cold start so you can see how everything works. There's going to be lots more videos in the future, so I'll go into much more detail than I am right now. Righto, so that's me standing in the hallway looking into my spare bedroom, which is used for this. Visuals are just on that wall at the moment via a BenQ 1080 ST short throw projector. All this is temporary, and just throwing it on a plain white wall is temporary too. The plan is to put a curved screen on it with two of those BenQs. It's basically a pretty close representation of an A10 Thunderbolt, and I use DCS A10 as the main SIM. Pretty close as in it's not 100% accurate. There are a few things that I've used artistic license on to get them to fit properly and things like that. I've changed a few panels around to make it suit my cheap eBay switches and that sort of thing. Thrustmaster Warthog HOTAS, obviously, with an extension on it, and the same for the throttle. I'm using Thrustmaster Cougar MFDs at the moment. I'm making my own MFDs, so they'll look a bit more realistic when I get around to it. I just haven't done that yet. The whole main instrument panel is a 27-inch screen. So all gauges, all steam gauges are done by that. The only gauges that are proper analog gauges in here will be the fuel panel. This one has not been done yet. That's just a placeholder to fill a spot. That's on the workbench at the moment. And the flap gauge down there is a real gauge run by an Arduino. Left console, so these consoles, just to get in, all you do is that. And you can do that with the other side as well, so it's pretty easy to get in and out of. The ejection seat, it's structural plywood and MDF painted up and stickers on it to make it look like a real ejection seat. The handles work. The seat cushions are the real deal from an Asus ejection seat. Everything works to eject. The seat arming lever works. So the whole pit is run by a single, what is it, an Antec CP850, 850 watt PC power supply, which is inside this console. And then there is one cable going from, here it is, one large cable, it's like a big loop. So that one large cable comes out, goes into here, and then there's another cable that comes out from the main panel into the left-hand console. All the USB cards for all of my input-output are through USB hub. So there's a USB hub in there, 7-port, there's a 7-port USB hub in there, and there's a 7-port USB hub in there. So all in all, there is 3 USB connections to the computer, one from each console. Not forgetting the rudders. The rudders are Simped F16 ones. I got them on eBay a long time ago. Where were we? So the one power supply runs all the backlighting off the console, so you can see that dims all the backlighting on the entire pit, and the same with the floodlighting. The floodlighting is just done with those cheap little eBay motorcycle light posts for now. And also the emergency flood switch is wired up to bypass that dimmer, so you get full brightness when you hit the emergency flood switch. The auxiliary instrument dimmer, sorry, just waiting for it to focus, that dims all of the other gauges that are white. The flaps gauge as well, if you can make it out. Sorry, just wait for it to focus. As well, the TACAN and the ILS are running off an Arduino. I think it's an Uno. Yeah, it's an Uno with two LCD 7-segment displays, and the whole radio stack is also running. That's an Arduino Mega with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 7-segment displays. That's about it. That's what it looks like. I'm still working on the back of it here, so you can see that it's not finished. It's a bit of a wiring mess behind there. I stripped the LG LCD monitor down, so that's from the monitor itself. There's an Arduino Mega running the whole front panel. Those are a 4-channel MOSFET, which runs the LED strips that runs the fire handles. There's a Leo Bodner 64 input card in the UFC, so that all works. Anyway, so that's a quick introduction. Like I said, I'll go into a lot more detail in further videos. What I'll do now is fire it up, and I'll do a quick cold start video. Alright, so here we are in the pit, and I'll show you a cold start up. Battery power, inverter, come over here and fire up the APU, and then we would sit here and watch the APU gauge until it gets to 100 and it settles at about 450, 500 degrees. Now I know that these are not aligned, but that's only because I've had the whole main instrument panel out doing something, so I'll wait till it's all finished till I sort that out perfectly. We'll come over here and we'll put the position lights to flash. Once we get 100, which we've got about now, APU gen on. Right, so we should have most electrical power now. Turn the VHF, the UHF, and the screen should light up. And this one here, the other VHF. We will go boost pumps, pitch SAS, pure SAS. Now's where we would ask the tower, but I'm not going to bother. I'll arm the ejection seat, and I will start the left engine. Should go into engine start cycle. Beautiful. While we're waiting on that, we will turn on the CDU and the EGI, and that will fire up and go through its bit test, which it does. We'll turn on the CICU. Both screens go blue. I cheated. I turned them on in the sim because these ones aren't wired up yet. I just haven't connected them. Those are the only two things on the whole instrument panel that aren't connected. JTRS on. IFFC to test. It'll come up on the HUD asking me to do the do the bit test. I'll push enter on the UFC and it'll start doing its bit test. I will come over here and turn on the EAC radar altimeter. And back over here, we will go the oxygen supply on. You'll see the flow light will start working. We will turn on the bleed air, main air supply. We can test the oxygen indicator. That works. Flashing oxy low at me. That's just the HUD going through its bit test. Looks like the left engine is probably stable, so I'll fire up the right engine. Engine start cycle. We'll hit the anti-skid. And we'll put the taxi lights on. Once that right engine fires up, actually we'll do the uncage the standby ADI. We'll load all of the DTS. Sorry, that one. We can turn on the EW system to standby. We'll go standby, standby, leave that off and turn that on. We don't have a jammer attached. That's all loaded, so I should have the TAD up, and I should have the CDU up. I'm not actually sure what I loaded. Some training inerts. Canopy. I always forget the canopy. That's the thing without... Oh, there's my shadow. Without the 3D cockpit, I forget it a lot. I'll close the canopy, and I'll wait for that indicator to go off. Locked. Righto, engine stabilised, so I can turn off the APU gen, and I will turn off the APU. That's finished its bit test, so I'll just flick that up to on. Now I've got a HUD, once it focuses, yep. So all I'm waiting on now is the INS system to align. So that MFD is just mirroring the CDU at the moment. But I think I'm all good to go. So the ILS and the TACAN, as well as the VHFs, will always display numbers because I'm using digital displays for this, but the actual aircraft has analog displays, so the sim is always outputting information about them, which is why you always get a number. On all the digital displays in the cockpit, if it's turned off, you won't get anything. So if I turn the UHF off, it'll go dead like a real one. Whereas because, like I said, these are analog. That's the same for the electronic warfare system. So the countermeasure system panel or signal processor, whatever it's called, also runs the set control up here. So if I turn that off, it goes dead. That went dead as well. Turn it back on. Everything works too. Set it to priority mode when missiles get launched at you. The only thing that doesn't work is the audio knob. I've got to fix that. I think I wired it incorrectly. Anyway, I can't be bothered waiting for the INS to settle, so I'll just... one indicator that's not working is takeoff trim. That's only because I wired it incorrectly, but 5 seconds I'll fix that. Let's do it. Just nose wheel steering's on. Is it going to focus for me? We'll just taxi out. You can see when I flick the flap switch, fully down, back up. So it's a bit hard to make out with the camera, but the needle itself is illuminated by a little light post you can see there. So when I dim the console, that goes off, and it's actually backlit white. It shows up really, really super green in the camera there, but it's not that green in real life. It's just sort of, it looks really good. It's just a glowing green needle on a white gauge. I'll try and get a better photo of it another time. Oh, geez, see, the rudder is not wired up correctly at the moment. It's I haven't set the curve or anything. It's just on some random thing. And we will go back a bit. And we will hit that one. I did forget to do the exterior lights, didn't I? I was supposed to go anti-collision and steady. Doesn't matter. So the discoloration you see is not in real life it's just my camera picking up the projector screen. It's a pretty good picture. So a couple of little cheats I've installed. These on the whole UFC works, steer points, everything. But these ones in the sim aren't interface, so I use them for something else. I'm actually going to change the labels on them. So I use that to toggle the 3D cockpit. Quick and easy if I need something. It also makes it a lot easier when I'm using Track IR, which I do a lot, but I haven't installed it yet, to actually have the canopy there as a reference, so you know where you're looking. Also made these buttons on the bottom of my CDU, which aren't realistic, but they let me control the views in the sim and that sort of stuff, and radio calls. Oh, you can see that the EAC is not on for some reason. Oh, that's because I haven't flicked the nav mode system panel. So you can see temporarily I've got the fuel gauge there while I'm still doing this one. That's supposed to be a UHF repeater, so it'll get swapped out later on. Alright guys, that's basically it. First startup. Happy to get my first video on this channel. There'll be a lot more to come. Thanks head for watching.